Excellency Deputy Chairperson of the African Union, Excellency Professor Remingoy Lumbu, Chairperson of the African Commission, Excellency Madam Janet Ramatulai Salanjai, Deputy Chairperson of the African Union, Excellency Ambassador Bankole Adioye, Commissioner for Political Affairs, ably represented here, Excellency Ambassador Willie Nyamiche, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Burundi to the African Union and Chairperson of the Permanent Representative Committee of the African Union Subcommittee on Human Rights, Excellency Mahaman Sise Guru, Director, Human Rights Council and Treaty Mechanism, United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Excellency Madam Abiola Ujo, Executive Secretary of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, distinguished members of the African Commission, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, invited guests. It's my great pleasure and honor to address this distinguished forum on behalf of the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the Honorable Dawda A. Jallow, who is unable to be with us this morning since he is out of the jurisdiction, presently on mission in Washington, attending the World Bank annual meetings. And as such, I want to convey his apologies for his inability to be here. In the same vein, to also use this opportunity to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the Republic of the Gambia. Excellencies, we are gathered here today, united by a shared vision to uphold the dignity of Africa and the people of Africa, and to advance the promise of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. This forum provides a timely opportunity to reflect on our journey, assess our challenges, and strengthen the partnership between the Member States and the African Commission as we prepare for the 85th session. Across our continent, efforts to promote and protect human rights have grown steadily, but we must acknowledge that many challenges persist. Institutional fragility remains a key concern. A number of our national human rights institutions continue to face constraints in resources, financial independence, and technical capacity. The struggle for compliance with the Paris Principles remains ongoing. These challenges, as we know, often limit their ability to effectively discharge their mandates to monitor, investigate, and address violations. We must also continue to recognize the significant implementation gaps confronting us. The African Commission and regional courts have established a rich body of jurisprudence and recommendations, yet too often these outcomes are not fully translated into national action. In some cases, this is due to limited awareness. In others, absence of follow-up mechanisms or competing national priorities. We must be conscious of the complex governance and security contexts that shape the human rights landscape across Africa. Ongoing conflicts, internal displacement, and socioeconomic inequalities pose significant obstacles, particularly for women, children, persons with disabilities, and other marginalized groups. These conditions test our collective resolve and call for renewed commitment to the principles of justice and equity. Another dimension that deserves our candid attention is the question of perception and trust. In some contexts, human rights institutions are too often viewed as adversaries to government rather than as allies in building just, fair, and accountable societies. This perception not only weakens cooperation, but also hinders the broader mission of promoting human rights as an integral part of development and governance. Excellencies, if we are to move from aspiration to concrete action, we must embrace innovation, accountability, and genuine partnership. Domestication of human rights norms into national laws and policies should no longer be a procedural exercise, but a practical reality. Human rights principles should shape how we plan, budget, and implement national development strategies. They should be embedded in the very fabric of governance so that the rights enshrined in our Charter are reflected in the daily experiences of our people. As we build stronger systems, we must also cultivate a culture of accountability and integrity within our institutions. The protection of human rights depends not only on laws and policies, but also on leadership that embodies the principles of justice, transparency, and inclusiveness. It is through such leadership that we can reaffirm that human rights are not foreign ideals. They are deeply rooted in our African values of dignity, solidarity, and the principle and concept of Ubuntu. Our collective progress also depends on a renewed spirit of cooperation between the African Commission and member states. The relationship between the two should not be seen as adversarial, but as complementary pillars of the same human rights architecture. Strengthening this partnership requires open, regular, and structured dialogue beyond formal reporting cycles so that engagement becomes continuous and constructive. Technical cooperation between the Commission and member states should also be expanded. The Commission can provide invaluable support through advisory opinions, capacity building, and guidance in aligning laws and policies with continental obligations. At the same time, peer learning and joint monitoring can allow countries to share experiences and best practices, fostering collective growth rather than competition. We must also explore more sustainable financing models. Greater contributions from member states and support from African-based partners will ensure that our human rights institutions are adequately resourced and less dependent on external funding. Sustainable homegrown financing is essential to preserve the independence, credibility, and long-term impact of our regional and national institutions. This forum, Excellencies, embodies the kind of cooperation we seek to deepen. It provides an important platform for dialogue, for sharing experiences, and for identifying priority human rights issues requiring collective attention. By engaging meaningfully here, states can build the capacity to interact more effectively with the African Commission during its sessions, contribute substantively to discussions, and advocate for national progress that reflects our shared realities. The exchange of experiences and best practices at this forum will also help member states learn from one another, refine their approaches, and enhance national implementation of human rights obligations. Through this process, we not only enrich the Commission's work, but also ensure that its deliberations and outcomes are informed by the practical perspectives of states. Ultimately, what we do here must help us move from discussion to action, from commitment to measurable progress. The African Charter on Human and People's Rights remains one of the most visionary human rights instruments in the world. It is both our moral compass and our legal framework, a testament to Africa's enduring belief in the dignity, freedom, and equality of all its people. As we gather here today, let us renew our collective resolve to ensure that the African human rights system is not a structure of words and rhetoric, but a living and dynamic institution that delivers hope and justice. Together, through open dialogue, mutual respect, and steadfast action, we can transform the promise of the Charter into the daily reality of our people. Let us continue to build a continent where human rights are lived and not only proclaimed. On this note, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure on behalf of the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Gambia, the Honorable Dawda Jallow, to declare this second pre-session forum of state parties open. I thank you all for your kind.